Hello, I'm Tim Smith with the Adams County Historical Society, and welcome to an edition of Monuments Monday. So I thought in this edition we'd talk a little bit about monument dedication ceremonies. You know, there are hundreds of monuments and markers and tablets around the Gettysburg National Military Park. And for the monuments, there's usually a dedication ceremony associated with them. It's funny that when people ask me what is the difference between a monument and a marker, I usually say, well, was there a dedication ceremony? Indicating it was commemorated in some way. But, you know, most of the monuments on our battlefield are the regimental monuments. And perhaps you know that most of the regiments that fought at the battle are from a certain town or a county or a group of counties. And at the beginning of the Civil War, every regiment had about 1,000 men. Now, obviously, as the war went on, you know, men died in battle, men died of disease. You know, after the war, men died. So by the time of the 1880s and 90s, when most of the regimental monuments are being erected, there perhaps are 200 or less men in each one of these regiments. When they had the monument dedications, the veterans who fought at the battle and fought in that unit during the Civil War showed up for these monument dedications. But they often brought their families with them, and the families of the men who died in the war serving these regiments came to the dedication ceremonies. And also, since they were associated with these towns or counties, often one town would bring people to the dedication ceremony. So when you see these images of the monument dedications, often they only put the veterans in the photograph. And I'd like everybody to think about how many people were behind the camera or in front of a dedication stand that is a slightly different location. There could have been 1,000 people or more at each of the monument dedications. Now, in some monuments, they were dedicated together on the same day, like a group of monuments. Like there was an Ohio Day on the battlefield, and there was a Pennsylvania Day on the battlefield, and a New York Day. But often monuments were just dedicated for that one unit. So Gettysburg, during the monumental years, you know, in the 1880s up through the early 1900s, enjoyed many days where thousands of visitors were coming in to help dedicate these monuments. And of course, the people that came in needed to stay in a hotel. They needed transportation out to the battlefield monuments. They needed a restaurant. They needed things to eat, and they needed to buy battlefield souvenirs. So during the 1880s and 90s, that's really when our tourist industry got going. And I wanted to make a mention of the fact that Clement Library at the University of Michigan has a William Tipton sample album with monument dedications in it. Now, it doesn't have all the monument dedications in it, and you know, it only has maybe like 100, but it has been very helpful to us, and we've used some of those images in our series here. I wanted to mention that you know, there's stories that are associated with these monument dedications. Probably some of the best stories are the 2nd New York Cavalry Association and the 149th New York, both of which hired someone to design a monument, and then they rejected their monument and decided not to dedicate it and sent it away and had a new one made. And I think that's fascinating. The 26th Wisconsin Regiment was organized in Milwaukee, and their monument is just outside of our Gettysburg, the Beyond the Battle Museum. And there's an article in the newspaper about them. When their train pulled into the station, one car of the train was just filled with kegs of beer. So they made sure they were prepared. Now, over the years, I've collected stuff dealing with the monument dedications, and the Adams County Historical Society has a large collection of stuff for some of these monuments. So I thought I'd show a few interesting things. In my collection, there's actually a newspaper, Frank Leslie's Illustrated, from July 24th, 1869, and it has an article about the dedication ceremony of the Soldiers' National Memorial, of course, with illustration of the dedication and the keynote speaker, my favorite general, George Gordon Meade. J. Howard Wirt's collection. He has scrapbooks with articles about the monuments that we have in his collection. And he has, throughout his book, dedication ceremony pamphlets or programs, this one being for the 68th Pennsylvania. In the McLean collection, you might notice downstairs in our museum, the McLean family is invited to the dedication of the Soldiers' National Monument in 1869. We have his invitation. He's also invited to attend the monument for Louis Grant's Vermont Brigade, the Lion. And he is invited to attend the ceremonies of Pennsylvania Day, which was held in 1899. And in various collections, we have booklets and programs for really interesting dedication programs. Like we have the program for the monuments to the 7th, the 10th, and the 37th Massachusetts of the 6th Army Corps. We have several copies of the booklet for the dedication ceremony of the Veterans Memorial in front of post number 9, Daniel Skelly, GAR in Gettysburg, which is on East Middle Street. We have a really nice booklet from the McLean family. It's William McLean's copy of the dedication of Gregg's Cavalry Shaft on East Cavalry Field. And we have a nice copy of a booklet, Ohio at Gettysburg, or it's called Gettysburg Monuments on the outside. And a member of the Ohio delegation gave this to a local Gettysburg citizen. In my collection, of course, I have been to several monument dedications. I find something awe-inspiring about going to these monument dedications, and since I was able to attend, come to Gettysburg on my own, I've attended some of these ceremonies. I helped with the raising money for the Tennessee Memorial, which off the top of my head is 1982. It's funny how we can't remember things in our own lives of the years. But this was their fundraising souvenir they handed out. And they actually changed the monument a little bit at the end. You see on here, it's a little bit different. I also attended the Maryland Monument, 1994's dedication. And I have a brochure that I got at the Maryland Monument. I remember the Maryland National Guard marching out of a cloud of smoke that was thrown down the Taneytown Road, and to the theme of the movie Gettysburg, I remember. And of course, Governor Donald Schaefer, former mayor of Baltimore, was the keynote speaker there, and I met him. Very, very proud of that. And I have the brochure. I was at the reburial of the remains of the Civil War soldier that was found in a railroad cut in 1996, and his bones were buried on July 1st, 1997. And I remember when I was younger, in 1988, I attended the rededication of the Eternal Light Peace Memorial, and I got a little patch there, and I have a little booklet associated with that. So I'm sure that everyone out there has their own stories about collecting stuff. I also, for a time, was a cameraman for ACTV. You hear that, Alanna? I was a cameraman. And of course, that was when there was a big video camera, and you put like the videotape in it. And I filmed the dedication ceremonies of the Masonic Memorial in the annex of the National Cemetery. So, monument dedications and stories about the monument dedications are something that we here at the Adams County Historical Society are very much interested in. And remember, if you like the content we put on our YouTube channel, please like and subscribe. And check out our website in the description here for GettysburgFilmFestival.org. And come out to the film festival and see notable historians, filmmakers, and actors such as Ken Burns.